at noon, or better in the crimson sunset's glow.
In the name of God Almighty, the most gracious, the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum. Namaskar, namaste. I bow to the God in you. Om Shanti. You are a peaceful soul. I am a peaceful soul. A God bless good morning, good afternoon, and good night, as the case may be, my beloved divine friends of Guyana, friends and families around the world. This is Elections Update Part 50. Can you believe that? If you want to see them and to go backwards from the beginning, you need to check RK's Guyana Free Media on YouTube and on Facebook, and to share. Dearest friends and families, I wish to give you 3 interesting readings this morning, afternoon, night, evening, as the case may be, as you are looking. Guyana is in a state of big shame. The shame preponderates. Now GCOM wants to behave as if it's the police force or the court. When the chairman had said, or the chairperson had said, that he who makes an accusation must prove, or words to that effect. Now this first reading that I'll do is done and was prepared by Sir Ronald Sanders. He's famous in Guyana and around the world as a scholar, a political commentator, and as an international diplomat. It is taken from the Guyana Standard, 31st May 2020, an online news carrier that is very famous and very fair. From Sir Ambassador Ronald Sanders: delay tactics for recount process have damaged Guyana's standing in global community. The failure to conclude the recount process by the 25th day deadline, along with the increased pressure on CARICOM scrutineers to serve during an extended period, has damaged Guyana's standing in the global community. Making this assertion in his recent writings was Ambassador of Antigua and Barbuda to the United States and the Organization of American States, Sir Ronald Sanders. The official was keen to note that the 25th day recount process, which came to an end on May 30th, was stretched out not by any efficiency or lack of efficiency of the persons doing the recount, but by constraints imposed on the process. To be exact, Sir Ronald said that the process was stretched out by obfuscation and dilatory tactics. Expounding further, the envoy said that a big part of the constraints is the protocols demanded by the Guyana COVID-19 task force, which he said is essentially a political body headed by a caretaker prime minister left over from the former government. Commentary: these words are coming from Sir Ronald Sanders, ladies and gentlemen. And if you may recall, I'm telling you that this is the COVID-19 task force is a political entity created to control the lives of citizens and affairs of the country as if they are an alternate or an alternative cabinet. And so they will use this pandemic to extract wealth or money out of the Consolidated Fund and the Ministry of Finance, or what is known as our Treasury. It's a political body headed by a caretaker prime minister left over from the former government. The official commented that the protocols imposed by the COVID-19 task force limit the number of counting stations and persons who can be present for a count. On that premise, Sir Ronald, in no uncertain terms, said it is the task force's protocols that contributed to the delays by not allowing more counting stations with appropriate protocols. My friends and families, a quick comment. So, you know, when a person is drowning and they know they will die, but they're panting and fighting for the last ounce of breath or air they could get. A person is sick and dying and is given a false idea that they will live if they do more tests by the Caribbean Heart Institute or one of those, and they have done things like that. I stand by my word. Knowing that the person is going to die, bankrupted their family, destroy their family's future, knowing they will die, they're panting for some breath because they're given a false hope of security or ability to survive. These delays, he noted, resulted in the recount process being extended to June 16th. As a consequence of this extension, Sir Ronald said that the three overburdened CARICOM scrutiners, Cynthia Barrow Gilles, St. Lucia Barbados, John Jarvis, Antigua and Barbuda, and Sylvester King, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who are already in highly pressured circumstances away from their homes and their families, will be in Guyana for 37 days altogether. This is commentary very unfair, all because of GCOM's recalcitrant. But let's give them some credit. Eventually, after the pressure, they did want more tables of count, but then the alternate cabinet came involved and decided that no way you can have all that you want, because it will appear that they are trying to use whatever they can to suck some air and get some breath. The ambassador said it should be clear that the CARICOM treats scrutinizing the elections with only the support of resident representatives of the OAS, Organization of American States, as two persons who are resident here, is striving not only to uphold CARICOM's commitment to democracy, but Guyana's as well. He said, therefore, that their contribution must be acknowledged and appropriately honored in due course. So I said, ladies and gentlemen, we have to give them a round of applause. Those three and the two in Guyana, and of course our local observers, sacrificing their times and their family to be here. And to my opinion, the vanguards of democracy, I am personally of the opinion, I put my neck on the block. Had it not been for the vanguards of democracy, those containers with the ballot boxes would have been tampered with. Ladies and gentlemen, there ends my first reading, but more is coming. Stay tuned. As a patriot, a little bit of guidance, ladies and gentlemen, for our sanitizing. And when you have your ring, you put it forward. It should take about 15, 20, 25 seconds. You have to be very cautious, keep your distance, and don't forget to use your face mask and proper social distancing to prevent yourself possibly catching or spreading this deadly disease of COVID-19. Remember, you may not have effects, but you could be contaminated. And in the process, you could be spreading it, not feeling sick. You think you're okay, and then you're taking chances. You know, our mayor of Georgetown took some action with the vendors in the Georgetown markets. I'm very disappointed with the Monrepo market. Up to yesterday morning I passed. People don't care. Very few. People in the market, the vendors, fish vendors and all, they don't care. I'm talking to them and they're watching you and laughing. I think the authorities need to move in there, institute some charges and expose them in the media. That will help. That part of the work you could do well, COVID-19 task force, instead of stymieing our democracy and wasting our funds in our treasury, you know, taxpayers' dollars, and then we have to go panhandling, begging, and we have been looked down upon for being an undemocratic nation and not getting what we deserve to help our people. And now we go part 2 and 3. Guyana Times, they were repeated also in Kanchor. State of affairs in Guyana has caused enormous hurt and damage. Irfaan Ali, presidential candidate, some say president-elect. And then the Recount exposes unholy alliance to push APNU AFC agenda, Vincent Alexander working to undermine GCOM by the PPPC. I'm not seeing anything here that is really I could use for on behalf of the APNU. There is another article here, concede defeat and make an honorable retreat for the sake of Guyana. And this is written by Gail Teixeira. Then there's another one, APNU AFC is a day late and $1 shorter. And this is written by Omchand Mahdood. So, but I'm going to go now to the presidential candidate's article in Guyana Times. State of affairs in Guyana has caused enormous hurt and damage. And if I say damage in our relationships, because this delay is create hate and pain and distancing, not only for pandemic, COVID-19, but distancing socially of our peoples. It says PPPC look forward to conclusion of electoral process. The opposition People's Progressive Party, Civic, has welcomed a conclusive timeline for the end of the ongoing national recount of the votes cast at the March polls and declaration of the 2020 election results. I'm very happy, whilst I'm dissatisfied with length of time given yesterday, Thursday. I said we would like to see a declaration by June 11th. And notwithstanding that, we have a conclusive timeline now for the end of the recount and declaration of the election's results. PPPC presidential candidate Dr. Irfaan Ali said during a virtual press briefing on Friday. His comment came on the heels of the Guyana Elections Commission GCOM approving earlier in the day an extension to the 25-day timeline for the recount process. The national recount got underway on May 6 and was expected to conclude today. However, with more than 700 ballot boxes still to be counted, the exercise was extended by an additional 14 days, according to the addendum to the recount order. The exercise should conclude on or before Saturday, June 13th. However, even with the addition 2 weeks, GCOM will take another 3 days before finally announcing the results of the elections on June 16. A brief comment. Ladies and gentlemen, so why do they need that additional 3 days? So they can talk amongst themselves. Whoever are the people thinking that they can control the GCOM, manipulate, maybe by threat and terror, or by promise of a lot of sweet. I wonder why it is that the man from the trade union, Mr. Lewis, was recently at GCOM and he has no authority to be at the Conk Center. When he's not an observer, he's not a party affiliate, or with authority to visit with a special badge, but he was there and he had a meeting apparently, according to information, with the chair. What are they talking? Is it terror and threat? Or is it honey and sweet? During his briefing on Friday, Ali stressed the need for there to be a conclusion of the electoral process, which has been ongoing now for almost 3 months. Guyanese and Guyana have been suffering. The unease in our society, the tension that exists, the stress that exists is not only as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, but because of this situation. The situation of affairs of our country has caused enormous hurt and damage to us. To Guyana, locally and internationally, now we have a definitive timeline as to when we will have the declaration he asserted. The PPPC presidential candidate used to the opportunity to dismiss attempts by government-nominated Commissioner at GCOM, Vincent Alexander. He said Alexander sought to misrepresent the seven-member Elections Commission when he claimed they would be looking into these issues raised by the APNU AFC during the count. The coalition has claimed that hundreds of persons who are either dead or migrated have voted March 2nd. To this end, Ali expressed concern over the attempts by the APNU AFC Commissioner to misrepresent GCOM and misguide the public. A commentary, and also I must let it be known, this gentleman whom I always respect and appreciate, but you know I say that politics bring out the evil preponderance of man, this thing about this disease, this pandemic called politics. And Mr. Vincent Alexander, whom I normally respect and appreciate, and there you can see him on the screen, I normally respect this man, is actually purporting as if he is the spokesperson for GCOM and for the chair. It's a very sad thing. According to Ali, along with stakeholders, including the coalition and its leaders, caretaker President David Granger, the GCOM chair retired Claudette Singh, who spoke on behalf of the commission, praised the election day activity. I did. The institution that I represent also did. The private sector did. All the diplomats did. All the observers did. All the election day. And on to the article. The PPPC presidential candidate contended that the elections, the activities and the voting are not the issues. In fact, he noted that the only fraud in the March 2nd general and regional elections were the fraudulent declaration made by embattled returning officer of Region 4, Demerara Mahaika, Claremont Mingo. Ali went on to point out that the evidence of Mingo's fraud is clear and glaring, but like his party, Alexander is also ignoring these. And the APNU AFC Commissioner Alexander sidesteps the evidence, would say nothing about Mingo's fraud, but will rather pontificate on extraneous issues where no evidence exists, and on issues that has no relation to the task at hand. The PPPC presidential candidate posited. Nevertheless, he noted that the end of the recount and subsequent declarations of the elections results, then any party that feels aggrieved has the democratic right to file any petition it sees fit. So in the end, after making his assumptions and making it appear that he's speaking for GCOM, then he says, well, anybody who is aggrieved can go to an election petition. So that's the second reading, ladies and gentlemen. I do usually like to do 3, so we will do the third one right now. Yes, dearest beloved divine friends and family, remember to use your sanitizers, remember to use your face masks, please. I will not be tired explaining this to you and reminding you, you have a responsibility to yourself and to the citizens of this country and to the atmosphere that we enjoy, that is gifted to us from God. Taken from Guyana Times, 30th of May 2020, Recount exposes unholy alliance to push APNU AFC agenda. And Vincent Alexander working to undermine GCOM. The PPP government appointed Guyana Elections Commissioner of GCOM, Vincent Alexander, on Friday claimed that the electoral body secretariat, headed by Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield, had written to the Chief Immigration Officer in order to ascertain whether persons identified as voted by APNU/AFC agents were in fact out of the jurisdiction on elections day. The disclosure has since been observed as exposing an informal alliance between Lowenfield's secretariat, since this information had not been ordered by the Commission nor shared outside of the secretariat to any of the other commissioners. Addressing media operatives outside the Artichoke Conference Center, Alexander revealed that in relation to the migrants, that information some days ago would have been forwarded to the Chief Immigration Officer by the Secretariat. He was at the time responding to queries that the Secretariat had in fact started investigating the claims of dead and migrated voters. According to Alexander, They have in fact embarked on the process of discerning and determining whether the information is evidential. Under the caption, Unholy Alliance. Responding to the startling disclosure that the Secretariat has written or is about to write to certain public authorities requesting certain information relative to the allegations which APNU AMC have been making, People's Progressive Party Civic PPC tabulation agent Anil Nandalal reminded that the Secretariat is subordinate to the Commission. The Secretariat, in other words, for those who don't understand, the Secretariat falls under the Commission and the Commission is the power. The Secretariat under the Constitution and under the various electoral laws is a unit that is subordinate below to any subject to the Commission. The Secretariat must and can only act upon the instruction and directions of the Commission, and reminding that no Commission decision was ever made for the requests to be made to the immigration officer. That's important. This is a unilateral thing being done without the Commission being involved. Nandalal observed that this has been disclosed by Alexander despite the Commission and other commissioners being unaware of such decisions. I'll repeat that. Nandalal observed that this has been disclosed by Alexander despite the Commission and other commissioners being unaware of such decisions. Nandalal has since concluded this to have exposed an unholy collaborating between government commissioners and certain elements within the Secretariat acting in consort to carry out the agenda of the APNU AFC. A PPPC commissioner had earlier told reporters the Commission has made no such decision, and further, no such diktat has been passed down to the Secretariat for implementation. According to the PPPC Commissioner, GCOM has taken no decision. The Commission has taken absolutely no decision insofar as it relates to treating with any of the issues that have arisen or may arise during the recount process, insofar as they are recorded either in individual observation reports or compiled observation reports. He told reporters, "I want to reject out of hand any contention that GCOM has sought or will seek information from any extraneous agency to deal with that and to conduct any investigation on its own volition or otherwise into these allegations that were raised during this period." Gunraj informed media operatives that at the Commission level, no information was received from any political party who contested the elections on March 2nd, 2020, and the Commission has taken no decision to investigate or to send it anywhere, reminding that the Commission is not in fact in receipt of any such documentation. Gunraj cautioned that if indeed the Secretariat is engaged in such activities, they obviously are engaged in a frolic of their own and will definitely face the consequences. The Commissioner used the occasion at the media centre's podium to remind that the legal ambit under which GCOM function does not include investigation of any of these things. He quipped, "Had the Commissioner been endowed with such investigative powers, we might have already investigated and made findings on the action of Region 4 Returning Officer Claremont Bingo in relation to the fraudulent declaration that he attempted to perpetuate on this nation, thereby attempting to thwart the will of the electorate, undermining GCOM." Personal commentary, and that is a serious offense, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to undermine GCOM, the nation, and to steal an election. And he could not be working alone. This calls for a very serious commission of inquiry, and possibly with CARICOM personalities heading that commission of inquiry. Back to the point. Meanwhile, the party in a public missive on Friday also weighed in on Alexander's pronouncement, saying it is worthy to note that none of the three opposition-dominated commissioners are aware of such a decision taken at the level of the Commission, nor was there any such public announcement by the Commission itself. As such, the party has since concluded, it appears, that Alexander, a central figure in the APNU AFC plot to rig the elections, has abrogated unto himself the role of GCOM spokesperson commentary. And I mentioned this early on in the first set of com that was taking place at the Actions building, that he was speaking, and I really thought, I felt the way he was speaking, that he was the spokesperson of GCOM and spokesperson for the chairman. The party said it seems to be working with Roxanne Myers and others of the Secretariat to undermine the Commission and to give credence to APNU and AFC's false allegations. The PPP has since called on GCOM CEO Lo Royenfield to urgently say whether he or the chair has given directions to embark on an exercise outside of their remit. And that's the end of the article. But friends and families, now when they have these 3 days to make an announcement, why they can't make an announcement immediately? Why 3 days? So that certain persons that were injected in there after they eliminated other individuals, Mr. Prasad, Vishnu Prasad, and so on and others, and they injected certain persons in there who will take the information out to the relevant authorities and for influence, internecine, conspiratorial influences to be fed and to tickle the mind, to threaten or to sweeten certain people to try to do contrary, which could have disastrous effect on personal lives and, oh God, on our country in the form of sanctions. My Lord, I pray that Guyana have those sanctions. I have no political priority. Who win the election, win the election. Who lose, lose the election and work with the government of the day to enhance and develop and build Guyana and to change things so we can have a national front government where the will of the people will be properly represented and a constitutional change to change our electoral system where winner does not take all. I do not believe in the system where winner does not take all, but for now we have to take what we have and make the best out of it. Your friend, your brother, me, Haji, Roshan Khan. Well, I got a title, Dr. Roshan Khan. And my people are telling me I must use it. I try not to use it, I try to be cool and humble, but sometimes my people demand that I'm using it. And my officer here is telling me, yes, use it. So I'm just using it for now. Next time I'll go back to just Brother Roshan Khan. And I love you all, Guyana, all ethnicities, all religions, all races, everyone around the world, the air, the sky, the sea, the earth. Let's love it, let's care our country, let's protect ourselves. Yours truly, me, saying thank you for tuning in and farewell.